What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with this market. So, one thing worth mentioning is that the market's getting a bit of a pullback, at least for today. We're seeing these same inflows that are going on right now, at least across the board. But despite this, the question now remains, can we hold our key support to see some kind of bounce very soon? Now, in my personal opinion, I just want to say that the VIX is going to give us a good idea about this. So when you look at the VIX, it's bullish, right? It's looking bullish, but we do have a tough resistance that's coming up. So as we try to push, right, as we try to push on the VIX, we're looking for 22.78. If we reject off this could be a sign that the market's going to try to form a bottom and the market's going to see a very nice bounce. But if we break through this and we continue to rally, we could be going for that gap fill next for that 24 area, and then we'll see if it rejects off that, right? So it's going to likely reject off one of those levels, whether it's at 24 or if it's right here, and we'll have to see how that ends up affecting the markets. So this signifies the market may bounce near where we're at, or what could happen is that the VIX breaks out higher and we continue to decline a bit, and then we get a later bounce. It's going to likely be one of those two. So I wanted you guys to be very, very careful with this, especially as the VIX has had this falling wedge. So we'll see how it goes. Now, the reason I talk about these scenarios is because tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. And don't forget that tomorrow is going to be FOMC day. So even if the market's down, we could still make a full recovery pretty easily because of Jerome Powell's speech, or we could see a massive rug pull. It all depends on what is said and done over there. For now, we're watching these key levels. And I will break down these charts. So make sure you guys pay attention to the VIX to see if this breaks out more or not. Right now, what happened is SPY's been dipping a bit, okay, which is completely normal because we had two straight up green days, very strong green days, which is still overwhelming this. But the problem is that, there's not enough fuel for this to really dump below 555 yet. To be bearish, you want to see us lose 555 and invalidate this inverse head and shoulders. We haven't done that yet. And the inverse head and shoulders still remains for now. If we could hold at 560 and see a nice rebound, then yes, we will continue to go higher. So this is the setup right now. We have like a left shoulder, we have a head, then a possible right shoulder like this, maybe if we could hold around 560. If we can't, I'm looking for this 557 area, then 555. And if those fail us, then yes, I will be a little bit more bearish. I'll be a little bit concerned if we lose those supports. So far, support is holding. So as long as we could hold near 560 to 558, this could attempt some kind of rebound move. It's still very possible we do something like this and we continue to uptrend approaching FOMC, maybe even after FOMC. So it all depends. So if SPY gets back above 570, we're back to bullish, looking for 575 to fill this gap up here. If we end up failing here and we can't hold around 558, do expect this to dip to about 555. So be careful. Could go either way, but I just want to be unbiased when I say this. There is a setup that exists with this inverse head and shoulders, and it's still possible we try to see some kind of rebound move. So watch that very closely, and we'll see how things end up going from here. On the QQQ, we have the same thing essentially going on. So what I like about the QQQ is the fact that we have a nice, this sort of resembles an inverse head and shoulders. I could sort of see it, but the main thing is that can we get a bounce? That's what we're essentially looking for. So we have a left shoulder, we have a head, we have a potential right shoulder. And if this does forge a nice balance and we get back above like 485, we do expect this to run a lot more. So watch to see if we can reclaim 480 and 485 to bounce. Well, again, 474 is support the exact level I called out. And if it doesn't hold us, we have a gap to fill near 470. So be careful at this zone. We're seeing buyers trying to defend near 474. They're trying to hold us right there. So we'll see if they can do that. And if they do, keep in mind we have a potential inverse head and shoulders here, which could help this eventually try to rebound. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. But watch and see 474 and see how well it holds up. For the Russell 2000, we're holding the support right here. There's an imbalance down here around this 201 area. We could dip closer to that, but then we'll see if we get some kind of rebound. But overall, this is still looking a little bit weak, especially because we're losing the support here. So if we get a bounce, we'll just have to see how things end up going. Get back above 204, and we could try to rebound. And then if we continue to fall below 202, we could dip more. So we'll see how it goes. Make sure you watch the low 200s and see what kind of reaction we get. Keep that in mind. I also want to mention that ES has a possible inverse head and shoulders forming here. So we have this left shoulder, we have a head, then we have a potential right shoulder that could be forming here before it tries to rebound. So this is the possible setup. However, don't worry about that yet. Don't worry about the very bounce at the end. So don't worry about this part yet. For now, we just want to see how low does this go. Do we base right here near this support near 56.50? Do we dip all the way down towards 5,600 flats before we get some kind of bounce? ES has a setup, but we'll see depending on FOMC and these other factors, right? You always want to just manage risks just to be safe. So I want to see it reclaim at 56.80 at the very least to see some kind of move up. 57.20 breaking that would turn is very bullish. So watch those levels. I do think it could dip a little bit more, but we're watching to see if the setup pans out or not. We have the same setup on NQ, a potential inverse head and shoulders. If we end up losing 19,400, though, it's going to be a bad sign. If we hold it on 19,600, we want to see this get back above 20,000. Reclaim that, then we're going to turn back up. So we'll see how well we hold up here. So watch to see if we could base on Bitcoin. It's relatively weak. We're getting rejected many times, but we have to see if the support could hold. We're looking for essentially 80,000 just to see if that ends up holding. So be very, very careful with this. So 80,000 could be tested. We'll see if we bounce. Nvidia looks decent. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders as well on here, as you guys can see. So I want to see this hold two levels. First off, we have 115. If that holds, we could try to bounce. If not, it's not going to be a good sign. So far, buyers are defending at 115. If that does hold, this could try to make a move back up. So reclaim 118, then 120. This could bounce. If we lose 115, we could remain more bearish. We'll see if this inverse head and shoulders pans out or not. For Tesla, we have a potential setup here. I just want to mention that we are rejecting so far. So we have like kind of like a double top leg structure making lower highs. So keep in mind, we're looking at this like 220 area. If that fails us, we could be dipping even more. So for Tesla, if we lose 220, I expect us to dump to the lows at 215 to make new lows. If we could hold 220, we're looking for a retest of 230. I think we might try to touch 230 again, but the problem is, can we hold above that 230 to 233 area? If we break past that, we could try a bounce for 241. But if anything, I just want to remind you all that Tesla's still relatively weak compared to the markets. It's down over 4% so far. It is trying to get back up to 230, but it's still weak because of all this bad news involving RBC Capital, lots of executives selling shares and factors like that. So not the best of news for now. On Netflix, we've been dipping a bit. We have to see if 924 holds. If not, we could be dipping more. For Coinbase, we're looking weak. We need to see if 175 holds. If not, it could be dipping more. Look at 175 to be tested. Looks relatively weak to me. Amazon's barely at support around this 190 area, but it is forming a bullish divergence as well. If 190 holds, it could try to get back up to 195. If it doesn't hold, it could be dumping more, so be very, very careful. On Meta, we're making lower highs again. If you actually look at this chart, we're looking for a bit of a decline. So we could be looking for, a move back down towards 575. I want to see it reclaim at least 585 to bounce. It is relatively weak, though, with this new lawsuit that's going on involving the Federal Trade Commission. So it could be dipping to about 575, so be very careful. Microsoft's on a bit of a downtrend. I want to see it reclaim 389 to bounce. Otherwise, we could be dipping closer to about this 300 and the low 380s, basically. Google's on a bit of a downtrend. I want to see it reclaim at 166.95. Otherwise, it may continue to fall. So for now, we're seeing big tech selling off a bit. The VIX is trying to push. We'll see how it reacts to this 50 and 20 EMA resistance around 22.7. If we hit that, we could reject. If not, we could be bouncing. So we'll see how it goes. With that being said, the market is showing a little bit of weakness, but there are potential setups that could form inverse head and shoulders if you look at like SPY and ES. So we're watching to see if support could hold and how well buyers defend near where we are. So please watch these levels closely. Do what you have to do, guys. I'll be back with another upload very soon. Thank you for listening and peace out.